Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to my channel, to my bookland, and to our coffee times together. And let's welcome in this channel as well my new mug. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation.
It's coffee time!
So you guys, in this video, as you have read from the title, I'm bringing you some thriller recommendations. And the idea for this video came because I always had the feeling that I read thrillers that were just okay, that I always gave like 3 stars and things like that. And I was like, I would like to really have a list of really good thrillers that I could always go to when I just needed that good one thriller. And so I decided, why not check on Goodreads and check off their like most popular thrillers and then see which ones had 4 or more star rating. Now I only made a list of 10 first of all. A couple of them I've already read, but I thought, you know, if I'm investigating anyways, why not bring you 10 thrillers that have been rated really high on Goodreads in case that you're interested in any of them, so that when you feel like you need a good thriller, you know which ones to pick from. So this is a list of 10 really high rated thrillers. I have also arranged them from the rating. I mean, I didn't go through all of the different pages from Goodreads, so I just handpicked 10 that either I have read or that I find interesting for me to read in the future. So let's start. I have here my list with you guys, and the first book is Down and Out by Mary J. Dyer, and this had a rating of 4.30 at Goodreads. So a publicist, a female publicist, moves to Texas and she meets this handsome security consultant. But while she's there, there is this other guy that kind of fixates on her, and it becomes kind of like a stalker situation. So can this consultant that she likes protect her? What's gonna happen? So this is kind of a thriller that I would like. It sounds like a basic premise, but it has such a good rating that I definitely want to check it out. I don't know why, but there's something about the mind of stalkers that it's very fascinating to me. That's what I liked You by Caroline Kepnes so much this year, and so I think this is one that I definitely need to check. The next one is one that I have been saying I have to check since last year, so I need to make this happen, at least get a copy of the book, and that is Big Little Lies, and this is by Liane Moriarty, and it is rated 4.26 at Goodreads. So I didn't want to get too much information about this. I know it's a TV show, and for thrillers I think it's always better when you don't know too much. So all I know is that it follows 3 mothers, and 2 of them have been friends for a long time. They live in the same town, and then there is this new mom that moves in with her son, and after that happens, their lives change forever. So that's all I know. And I'm suspecting this is going to be, you know, with a lot of drama, mysteries, and plot twists and things like that. And I've heard this series, it's really good, so I really want to check it out. But before I do, I want to read the book first. Next we have a classic, and despite me having read some Agatha Christie books in the past, I've never read this one. And this is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, and this one has 4.25 rating. So 10 strangers are invited to this mansion in an island, and this is owned by an eccentric millionaire, and when they get there, the owner is not there, the person that basically invited them. So they're like, what's happening? And apparently they all start to die and that's why the title is And Then There Were None. So I guess it is about figuring out who is the murderer and why is this happening. It sounds totally something down my alley. I believe they did another book that was based on this one, another thriller that I have on my wish list. So it would be cool to read these two and kind of compare them. I read other of her novels and I really enjoy her stories, so I think this is also another one that I really need to get my hands into. Next we have another sort of classic book that I have had also on my wish list for some time, and I think it's also getting close to the point where I really need to make it happen, and that is Rebekah by Daphne du Maurier. I hope that was correct. And this one had a rating of 4.22. This is a story of a maid that out of the blue gets a marriage proposal from a wealthy widower, and she thinks, you know, her life is going to change for the better. She gotta believe her luck. And when she gets into the mansion after they marry, she realizes that the shadow of the ex-wife of the deceased is going to be hunting her more than she thought. This sounds a little bit like Crimson Peak, like it's giving me those vibes when I read the synopsis. So I'm definitely also excited for this one. I've seen people reading it and enjoying it. I know it's an older book, but definitely a classic, and I need to get to it. Then we have Stephen King time. So we have The Shining by Stephen King with a 4.21. Now, he has others with higher ratings, but I thought The Shining would be a great time now for you guys to read, because Dr. Sleep is coming soon, the movie, so you can now read The Shining and Dr. Sleep. I'm gonna be reading both of them before the end of the year, so if you want to do a buddy read, let me know down below, because I'll be willing to do that with you guys. And basically The Shining is following the story of Jack Torrance, and he moves with his family to a hotel over the winter because he wants to focus on his writing. But when they get there, they start to realize that weird things start to happen in the Overlook Hotel. That's all I'm gonna tell you, and it is a fantastic novel, fantastic. I'm gonna mention the other books by Stephen King that I found on that list, one of them being Misery with 4.15, then It with 4.23, and The Stand with 4.34. So The Stand seems to be a favorite, and I just read the other day that they're going to re-release it in a better quality in Blu-ray, and I'm just dying. I'm gonna get my hands in a copy from that, because The Stand is definitely one of my favorite stories from Stephen King. Next, we're moving to another author, and we have The Bone Collector by Jeffrey Deaver, and this had a total of 4.19 rating. We're following the story of a detective that he was like brilliant, he was one of the best, but then he was in an accident and he gets shattered physically and emotionally. But then suddenly there is this serial killer that emerges, and he is kind of, you know, playing with him, and it becomes, you know, the cat and the mouse kind of thing where they're chasing each other. And it sounds like a very typical, you know, police investigation crime story, but I do tend to like those. I do like detective books, so I think I would like to check this one out. Then we have Watchers by Dean Koontz, and this had a total of 4.17 rating. He's well known for a lot of books. Some of his I like, some of his I don't like, and particularly this one I have not read, so it's definitely one that I want to check. What I love about this book is that we're following genetically altered creatures in this book, and that's already like something that sells the book for me. So we're basically in a world where there's this laboratory where they have some genetically modified specimens, and one of them is a very intelligent dog, and the other one is kind of like a hybrid monster, and they're both on the loose. So fun times. Yeah, definitely one that I want to check out. I love everything that has to do with monsters, animal, genetically modified creatures, so got to check this one out. Then we have The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson, and this one had a rating of 4.13. And this is a book that I have been trying to read for years. Well, it is like a trilogy, it's 3 books, and I always wanted to read them. I think I'm gonna enjoy them, and it's one of those that I keep putting aside. I have, I think, the 3rd book in paperback, but that's all that I own. But I definitely need to check these ones out. I have not watched the movies because I wanted to keep myself away from spoilers. Apparently, somebody from one of the wealthiest, richest families in Sweden disappeared 40 years ago, but there is one uncle that would just not give up and still trying to look for that person, and that's all I know. And I don't want to read too much into the synopsis or know too much about it, because I think it's best if I do it that way. So if you've not read this one and you would be interested in it, just know that it has a really good rating in Goodreads in case you want to have a cool trilogy, in this case, of a kind of thrilling adventure. Then we have Telma Won by Harlan Coben, and this had a rating of 4.11. We're following the story of a couple, and apparently one night the wife is taken away and everybody is telling the husband to just let it go after years pass and there's no news of his wife. But then years later he receives an email in his computer, and there contains like a couple of sentences or some information that only his wife could have known. So he starts to think that she's still alive. And the last one is actually one that I've already watched the movie, and I think this is why I have been putting off the book, and that is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and this had a rating of 4.06, and we're following the story of a married couple that looked like the perfect couple, everything's great, but then one day she suddenly disappears and his husband goes into this kind of like mission to find her, and on the media everybody's like, oh, this suffering man and poor man. But then something happens that it starts to point that he might have something to do with her disappearance, and they start to blame him. So did he do it? Did he didn't take her? What happened to her? And yeah, so the movie was great. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, but obviously now I know the twist, and when you know the plot twist in a thriller, it's not so exciting anymore. I mean, it's been a couple of years since I've watched the movie, so maybe I could now take the novel, but it's definitely one that I want to read still because I really did enjoy the story in the movie, so I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna love the book. But the reading experience is gonna be different because I already know how it's gonna end. But if you're interested in this one and you have not watched the movie, I definitely recommend you the book, because I love the story. So I hope that the book, you know, makes justice, because the movie was great. Anyways, you guys, these were the 10 top thrillers that I found on Goodreads. I mean, it's some of them. There are more, obviously, that are above a 4-star rating, but these are some that I put together for you, and also kind of a reminder for me of some thrillers that I've been meaning to read for a while and I still haven't. So yeah, let me know down below what you thought about this video, if you have read any of these thrillers, or if you know of any other thriller that I did not mention that is extremely good and that I should check out. Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much, you guys. I really appreciate your support. Please give the video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Remember to also click on the notification bell so you'll be notified every time that I upload one of my coffee times. And if you want to follow me in other social media, I do have Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And the links to those can be found in the description box down below. And I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!